In the golden age of home gaming, the living room became a battlefield. Pixels were the weapons, joysticks the swords, and every console launched a declaration of war. After the dust settled between the Atari 2600 and Mattel's Intellivision, two new contenders emerged, each promising better graphics, smoother gameplay, and arcade-level thrills. This is Console Wars, the second generation Part 2. Today we dive into the clash between the Atari 5200 and the ColecoVision, two consoles that ask, what if we made it bigger, louder, and slightly more confusing? 1982 was a pivotal year. Atari, still riding high from the 2600 success, decided to launch the 5200, a console so large it could double as a coffee table. It was designed to reclaim dominance and maybe store your vinyl collection. But Coleco wasn't playing around. They dropped the ColecoVision just months earlier, and it came packed with Donkey Kong. That's right, Coleco managed to snag Nintendo's golden goose before Nintendo even knew they were a console company. It was like showing up to a knife fight with a pixel-perfect arcade port and a smug grin. Let's break down the hardware. The Atari 5200 had a custom MOS 6502C processor and a 16 kilobytes of RAM, enough to run games and maybe store your disappointment. It also featured a graphics chip capable of 320 by 192 resolution, which sounds impressive until you realize most games used half of that. The ColecoVision packed a Zilog Z80 CPU, the same chip used in actual arcade machines. It had the same RAM, better sprite handling, and graphics that didn't look like they were drawn by a caffeinated toddler. On paper, it was a close match, but in practice, one felt like a console and the other felt like a science experiment with a vendetta. Let's talk controllers, the part of the console you actually touch unless you're emotionally distant. Atari's 5200 controller was ambitious. It had an analog joystick, a numeric keypad, and the structural integrity of a wet napkin. Why does it not self-center? Well, it didn't self-center. This basically means your character will wander off like a toddler in the mall. And if you wanted to pause the game, good luck. Just unplug the console and reflect your life choices. Just kidding, there's an actual pause button. The first of its kind. Right, I think it was the first. Nope, never mind. That goes to the Fairchild Channel F in 1976. Oops. ColecoVision's controller wasn't perfect, but at least it was sturdy, responsive, and didn't make you question your existence. It also had a keypad, because apparently every console in the early 80s thought gamers were dying to input their social security number. Games are the soul of any console. Without them, you're just holding a very expensive paperweight. Atari 5200 had classics like Missile Command, Pac-Man, and Centipede. They looked better than the 2600 version, but still felt like they were ported by someone who had only heard of the arcade once in a dream. ColecoVision, meanwhile, came out swinging with Donkey Kong, Zaxxon, and Adventure. These were near-perfect arcade ports that made you feel like you were wasting quarters from the comfort of your own home. Coleco even partnered with Nintendo, because nothing said were serious like borrowing Mario before he had a last name. Despite its power, the Atari 5200 stumbled harder than a kid trying to play Cooper with oven mitts. Its controller was super unreliable. It wasn't backwards compatible with 2600 games, unless you bought a separate adapter the size of a toaster, and you had to have the second model of the 5200 that only had 2 player ports instead of 4. What progress! And its marketing was about as clear as a foggy mirror. Atari basically said, here's a new console. It's not the 2600, or maybe it is. We don't know, just please buy it. ColecoVision surged ahead, winning hearts and minds until the video game crash in 1983 came in like a wrecking ball made of unsold copies of E.T. Both consoles were discontinued by 1984, proving that even the best arcade ports couldn't save you from industry-wide existential dread. In the short term, ColecoVision won. It outsold the 5200, had better games that didn't make you cry during setup. The Atari 5200 became a cautionary tale, proof that innovation without execution is just a fancy way to say oops. But both consoles pushed boundaries. They showed that home gaming could be more than blocky blobs and beepy noises. They paved the way for future consoles to ask, what if we made this fun and functional? The second generation of console wars was fierce, fast, and unforgettable. The 5200 and ColecoVision may burn bright and brief, but their impact still echoes in the pixels of every game we play today. If you enjoyed that deep dive, please subscribe for more of my videos, and drop your favorite 5200 or ColecoVision memory in the comments below. Whether you are on Team Atari, Team Coleco, or Team I just want to play Donkey Kong without crying, because that's mine, one thing's for sure, those are the days.